Have you always wondered where all the income that you receive goes? Or do you want to take control of your money and stop living from paycheck to paycheck? Then this episode is for you. We delve in deep into budgeting, how to create a realistic budget that really works for you. And joining me today on B3Inspire, we have a financial expert. You met Edem on our first episode on financial literacy, where we spoke about the 5 pillars of financial literacy and common mistakes that people make.
Exactly.
I'm excited to have Edem back on. And today we are talking everything about budget techniques.
That's true.
And how to actually build that financial security. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
If you would like to watch the previous video, which is the episode 1, go back and watch that. There are some great nuggets in there for you. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on this series on financial literacy. Right, Edem. Before we delve deep into how to budget, let's start with this simple but crucial question. Why is budgeting important for financial success?
So budgeting is crucial for financial success because when you think about it, budgeting is a tool. Just think about it, just a simple tool that enables you to paint a good picture for your future. And I would say your future, your financial future. But again, coupled with that is helping you to be able to journey towards that financial picture that you have created. And how that happens is that a budget really helps you to know where your money is going rather than wondering where
did it go?
Money went.
What's happened? They just paid me.
Yeah, they paid me. And suddenly I can't find the money. No. It's if you track it, you will know exactly where your money is going. And that's what budget really does, helping to track your expenses, but not just expenses. Obviously, we talk so much about expenses in budgeting because that is probably the bulk or part of the budget. But we should not always underestimate the power of the money that comes in. And then a couple of that was that people tend to really overspend, and people tend to live paycheck to paycheck, or even struggle to save, because they live without a budget. And when you have a budget, it means they're able to avoid all of those things.
That makes sense. But many people feel that budget can be quite restrictive and difficult to maintain. Let's be honest here. What do you say to those who think budgeting is not possible?
Well, I feel that budgeting, or to answer to that question, it's the whole thing about maybe budget is not for me, it's for a certain group of people.
Yeah.
I believe it's a misconception if you really think about it, because as I mentioned earlier on, I said that budgeting is a tool.
Yes.
It's a tool. What kind of tool? It's a tool that helps you to gain that financial freedom. And really, when you think about it, and please make sure you watch the first episode.
Yeah.
And because we talk so much about the fact that when you have a budget, it helps you to live less than your means. And that's what budgeting does. The tool that helps you to do exactly that. When you have a budget, it helps you to gain clarity for your future. When you have a budget, it ensures that you have, or you're able to, and I mentioned it earlier, to have the right future goals in place. When you have a budget, it ensures that you are able to reduce any financial pressure or uncertainties that might come up, because think about it. You would have planned for it. Exactly. If you plan for it and think that, where's the next money is going to come from? I want to be able to go on a holiday, but I don't know where the next money is going to come from, and all of that. But when you are able to plan for it, you are able to ensure that you're able to reach that goal and not really stress about it. And not think about, have any uncertainties about it at all. But also to add to that as well, is that most people find themselves stressed because they don't know how to avoid unnecessary debt. But when you do have a budget, it ensures that you're able to avoid unnecessary debt. So really, budgeting is an amazing tool for everyone.
I think it's a necessity,
It
because
is.
if we are talking about stress, I mean, chronic stress is what leads to all these chronic health issues. So if that's going to impact on our health, then it is a necessity that we pay particular attention to this. And sometimes it amazes me, with, of course, my education background, why this is not on the curriculum. Why don't we have this as, a subject to study? Because I think it's a life skill. I mean, I'm very passionate when it comes to that. I just believe that everybody should be able to have access to this financial literacy.
Well, it will amaze you to really know that. And when I work with the bank, and there was some research that was done, and we were talking about stress. One of the number one thing that keep people awake at night is
Money. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. You can see why.
Literally.
But why is there less education about it, and why do we pay less attention to it? It's what, it goes to say or confirm, I would say, that the rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer. But it shouldn't be that way. We can actually take control.
Absolutely. Taking control is about being organized. It's about having that plan in place. And
yes.
That's one of the key difference between the rich and the poor. The rich knows how to plan, they know how to organize themselves.
That's right.
But the poor tends to do things anyhow. If you do things anyhow, your life will end up anyhow.
Yeah.
Your finances will end up anyhow.
Yeah.
But you don't want that.
Yeah. And I suppose you can't expect to do the same thing and expect different results, isn't it?
That would be madness.
So, be madness.
It would be.
Right. Okay. Before we delve deep into how to actually do budgeting, could you explain to us what the difference is between income and expense? Because I believe that is a great basics for budgeting.
Yeah. So, income simply is anything that you receive financially. They sometimes call it an inflow. And so it could be, for example, your salary is an income, and the money that you receive from your side hustle is an income. From freelancing, the money that you get from there is an income. Dividends and income, or the returns that you have on your investment is the interest that you have from your savings is an income. And even some of the gifts, the money gift, the financial gifts that you receive.
Who doesn't want a gift?
It's an income. So that's simply what an income is, an inflow. And then expenses is an outflow. So anything financially that leaves you. So it could be anything, for example, your utility bills, your mortgage, your rent, transportation, fuel, petrol, those subscriptions, and your entertainment. So
buying those coffees.
What's that?
Buying those coffees.
Yeah. Buying those coffees. Yeah, that's true.
They add up.
Yeah, it does add up. Amazingly does add up. And so having the right balance between your income and expenditure is crucial for a workable budget. And again, emphasis on a workable budget. Ideally, you want to be in a surplus position after you've drawn the budget. Which might not be the case all the time, but at least you are working towards it.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Into budgeting methods, because I'm sure that everybody's itching to find out what are the methods behind this. What could they do? Would you be able to break down some of these methods?
Absolutely. So there are quite a few different types of budgeting or systems, or sometimes they call it strategies for budgeting. For the purpose of today, I probably will talk about this maybe 4. So, but it does cover quite a wide range anyway. So the first one I want to talk about is what we call the zero-based budgeting. So the zero-based budgeting means that every single income inflow that you comes in, it has a purpose. It's assigned to every bit of expenditure that you may have. And so there is nothing unaccounted for. Right from the expenditure, right from the mortgage to even something as small as maybe buying a bottle of, I don't know, a bottle of water, just a
Wow.
single bottle of water from the corner shop. I mean, it's literally every bit of income has an assignment.
That is incredible. Wow. I'm just interested to know who would this be for. Just thinking, I'm buying a little bottle of water. Why should I be counted for? Okay. So who would this typically be suitable for?
Yeah, so the zero-based budgeting typically is for the individual who's detailed.
Okay.
So it can be also for people who are perfectionists and don't want to leave anything unturned.
Don't marry one.
So yeah, for the detailed individual, the zero-based budgeting is for them, and also for
Fantastic.
individuals who want to take control over their spending, because they don't want to leave anything unaccounted for.
Would it be the peak? Is that what everybody needs to aim for, so that every single penny is accounted for?
Yeah, I would say why not? Because you want to make you have a picture for your financial future. If you have a picture for your financial future,
Security.
you want to make sure that, again, you know exactly where the money is going. You know where the money is coming from, but we fail to account for where it's going. And when we fail to do that, that is where we realize that the future that we want to attain, we sometimes miss it.
Yes.
Because we have perhaps deviated from the plan. I mean,
when we fail to plan, we plan to fail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: there is an element of flexibility that comes with planning. But if you don't have a plan in place in the first place, how would you even have that flexibility to get to that financial future they want to get to? So we cannot underestimate the power of budgeting and accounting for everything or anything that comes in.
What's the next one? So we've got zero-based.
Yes.
What's the next one?
The next one is what we call the 50-30-20 rule.
Okay.
But sometimes the 50-30-20 rule can further be broken down into the 50-30-10-10 rule.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
What's the 10-10?
So the 50 really is 50. So 50% of your income goes towards your needs. And we're talking about things like the mortgage to pay for the house, for utilities, for electricity, your clothing is a need, water is a need. So all of those needs is accounted for. So that 50% goes towards those general, important, necessary expenses. Then the 30% goes towards your wants. So there's subscriptions,
holiday,
yeah. Hey.
Could I be 50?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but who knows? All things are possible.
Working holiday.
So so the 30% is towards your wants. Holiday, discretionary spend, and subscriptions as an example. Then we come to the 20%, which is really for savings and investment. So, and then when we talked about savings, we covered quite a bit on the first episode, whereby we mentioned element about emergency fund. So emergency fund savings goes in there. Anything out beyond that goes towards your investment, but it all comes under the 20%. But there are some people who like to donate towards charity, or
is that a split 10-10?
Exactly. Or who might be paying tithe to their church.
Christians,
yeah, exactly. And so instead of making it 20% towards savings and investment, 10% goes to your tithing or your donation, and then the next 10% goes towards your savings and investment. So you have that split there, and ensure that it's accounted for.
Excellent. So we have zero-based.
Yes.
We now have 50-30-20, but could be 10-10.
Correct.
Bro, what's the next one? Actually, before we go into the next one, who would this be best for?
So the 50-30-20 rule, or 10-10, is really for beginners. So anyone who have never budgeted before, but then they want some form of structure around their budgeting. It's simple. You know exactly the allocation to make towards towards the expenses from the income. So for beginners, individuals who want structure, who want some form of flexibility towards their budgeting.
Great. And I know that there are templates that could be used. If you would like to try or start the 50-30-20 rule, there will be a template down that you can download for. What's the next one?
So the next one is what we call the envelope system of budgeting. So
Okay.
the envelope system of budgeting really it's almost like the very traditional fundamental system of budgeting. So how it works is
Old fashioned.
Yeah, old fashioned. Yeah, you could put it that way as well.
You never go wrong with old fashioned though.
Yeah, so you can't go wrong with what grandma or grandpapa tells you.
Yes, you can't go wrong. Yes, that's where the wisdom is.
That's where the wisdom is. It's mature.
That's right.
Okay. So so it's coming back to basics, and how that works is that you basically employ envelopes, and then you basically label all of those envelopes according to your expenditure. Some people want to keep it simple, so they basically want to allocate the envelopes. They label it needs, wants, and savings and investment, and then maybe donation or tithe. So literally an envelope, they use envelope to basically split their money or split their expenses. Or some people want to be a bit more sort of granular, whereby they basically go for they employ envelopes for almost every major expenses.
Wow.
So we're talking about an envelope labeled for mortgage or rent.
Yes.
And then for shopping, for utilities, for council tax, for TV license, and so forth. Yeah, so quite granular. And how it works is that some people employ, like they mount up a board on the wall or somewhere in the room, and they'll pin an envelope, those labeled envelopes, onto those walls, and then they will label it as such. And some people, again, things have gone quite digital and it's debit card, but some people really don't want to use debit card. It's almost that system that I don't want to use debit card. So they basically take cash and then they spend it accordingly, except for places or for payments
that you are not
or
able
expectations
to do it.
where you can't use cash and it has to be done by using the digital or the banking system to be able to do those payments. But even so, they're so hardcore that they basically will label, they also have a label for it, an envelope for it. So that's how I've seen it actually work, and it works for them. So
that's right. Yeah,
it works for them. Why not?
Excellent. And who would this be best for? Who would it be for?
Yeah, so this system normally, not to leave anybody out, so is for those who might not be digitally inclined, talking about called traditional way of doing things.
Yes.
And for them, individuals who might want, they're working towards or want to overcome overspending. So they want to make sure that they don't purchase discretionally. So they're just freedom ensuring that they've got that level of discipline. It's their way of disciplining themselves in order to ensure that they actually working towards their financial goal. And so for them it works. And if it works for them, why basically
why not
use the employee?
And I suppose this method could also be for those people maybe living in a country that might not be so much cashless.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that might also work for them. Excellent. What's the last one? You mentioned 4.
And then the last one is what we call the pay yourself first strategy.
Oh, I like that. Pay yourself first.
Who doesn't want to pay themselves first?
Prioritize me.
You work for your money, and so you should pay yourself first before everybody else.
Certainly.
I believe that should be the core of fundamental. And you want to think about all of the other strategies that we've talked about.
Yeah.
The pay yourself first should actually weave into all of the other strategies, because your money is your money.
Yes.
You work for your money.
Yes.
So you should learn to pay yourself first
before
you give it to anybody else. And it makes sense. Even if it's £1, £5, whatever. So the pay yourself first strategy, how it works is that when the money comes in, you ensure that you allocate the savings and investment first before all other expenditure or expenses. So ensuring that everything else comes next after your savings and investment.
Fantastic. Then my broker use this analogy of that's the hen, and you eat the eggs, but you do not eat the hen. And I was like, oh, okay. Great. Yes. I like the idea of pay yourself first. And find that golden hen that lays those eggs.
True. It's the
Okay.
master hen, isn't it?
Master hen. Yes,
Yes.
brilliant.
Okay, so after you automate your savings, then review your budgeting on a monthly basis. Be realistic about it. Again, like I said, be realistic about it. Let me just use the other word. Do not be unrealistic about your budget. Because
Maybe the holiday. So on the holiday bit. Be realistic.
Yeah, be realistic.
Yeah. Okay.
You work for your money. Plan some sort of fun in your budget. Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Apart from everything else. So so review on a monthly basis. Life change is very important. And the other thing as well is that if you are struggling, please have an accountability partner. If you know that you can't do it on your own, I know somebody, money is not his thing. Okay, and even when you are in you've got a partner, a marriage, or a husband or wife. Sometimes we will amaze you. Sometimes say, "Oh, the man should be the one who should be good with the money." No, who said that?
Who said that? Yeah. There isn't a rule on that one.
Sometimes the woman might be better managing the money.
That's right.
So whoever is better at managing the money, let that person take over. But I'm also outside of the relationship, somebody in your life who can you can be accountable to, somebody who can easily say no to you.
That's right.
Very important. Somebody who can easily say no to you. Let that be your accountability partner who can help you to be able to put things in place for you or help you to track things.
Fantastic. Well done. Because I think there is that myth around money, isn't it? It's not something we talk about. It's not something to be shared. It's not something. And you might find people really struggling in secret, but having that person, maybe, I don't know, somebody you trust, that you say, look, this is what I'm working towards. Can you hold me accountable? Can go a long way.
And there's even a client as well that I work with, what she does is that she let her mom be an accountable person in her life in such a way that the mom has opened an account in the mom's name. But then every single month she pay herself first. She transfer the money, goes automated standing order out of her account to her mom's account. Which is really, the money is for her. But from the viewpoint of accountability, the mom basically manages that aspect of money for her. So everything that she's got basically is for her to manage for the day-to-day spending. So whatever will work, or this accountable person in your life, make sure it's somebody who you can trust and you can.
I mean, the trust is important, isn't it? You wouldn't want somebody sending money to a friend's account or whoever that you do not really trust, because you don't want to lose that money either. But somebody you can trust. Amazing. Okay. So what are some of the common mistakes that people make when it comes to budgeting?
Okay. Great question. So the one of the first and foremost that really comes to mind, and quite important really, is not tracking small expenses. It will amaze you how
it's only £5.
and £5 become £15. And becomes it was not tracking the small expenses.
Or subscription that you don't ever use. Oh my goodness, that's a big one.
And maybe sometimes subscribing it when it's free and forgetting to cancel it. And then it goes through. And then it's thinking, so all of these things add up. So forgetting to plan for these things, small expenditure, mounts up, and then you realize that the money should be in surplus. Where did it go?
What's happened? Happened?
So that's what the budget is for. So don't ignore it, don't disregard it. It's very important. Then the other thing as well is that is setting unrealistic goals. Setting unrealistic goals. We talked about earlier on about sort of ensure that there's some sort of fun in the budget. Very important. And also not forgetting to include irregular expenses. Or expenditure.
Those birthdays.
Birthdays. Repairs that will come up.
MOT.
But MOT, should we give that to them? I'm not sure, because you know that you have to do MOT every year.
So this is where maybe having that template, which will have all those irregular expenses on there could prompt people when they are budgeting.
Yeah.
So feel free to download it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the template will really help as well. And I was going to add that to you. I mean, the other thing as well, other mistake people make is not reviewing or adjusting their budget over time. People, life changes.
Yes.
The life events happen. Their children, grandchildren, all of it. You move house. Sort of these things happen, or the mortgage happens. I mean, life changes. Life events happen, or maybe you have to take on a new policy, insurance, whatever.
Yes.
Life changes. Or sometimes if you have adopted somebody into your life, you got to take care of that person. Life changes. So you've got to ensure that you adjust your budget according to these life changes.
Yes.
Again, when you do, it will ensure that you know exactly where your money is going rather than wondering where it went.
So it's like reviewing it monthly basis.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Good point. So before we go, what would you say is your final tip for someone who is struggling to develop or make budgeting as a habit? And also, one final tip that you wish everyone knew about budgeting.
Good questions. So before a final tip, I would say that start small. Yeah, start small wherever you are. It's your journey. Your journey is my journey. My journey is not your journey. Don't live to please anyone, but start small. It's very important. Start small where you are, even if just putting something away every single month, and then being consistent with it is very important. Remember,
consistency.
Absolutely, very important. Remember that budgeting is a learning process. It's not a punishment. Very important. And if the one budgeting tip that I wish that everybody know is that remember that budgeting is not really about restricting yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, very important. It's about having the financial freedom to be able to live life and live it to the full capacity so far as finances are concerned. Right?
That's right.
Very important. And then the other thing as well, you've got to realize that when it comes to budgeting, it's not really about living less. It's about living better. Okay. And that's what I said, that when you have that tool in place, it helps you to be able to manage the flexibility comes with it in your own way, according to where you are for where you are going.
Wow. That's insightful. I'm excited for what is yet to come in this series. Amazing. Right. If you have found this video helpful, I want to remind you to like, hit the thumbs up button, share with someone who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Let's just recap today. What we've learned today in this episode on budgeting is budgeting gives you control over your money. That there are different types or methods that we could use to help us to budget. We've got a zero-based, we've got a 50, 30, 20 or 10-10 rule, the envelope system, the traditional way, and my favorite, pay yourself first.
That's very important.
Right. And we've also learned that, of course, we need to stick to budgets. What could help us to stick to it is using apps, using automation for savings and investment, and just reviewing your budget monthly.
Yes.
Wow. What a great value and great insights that you've shared with us. Wow. What's next? Join us for the third episode on credit score and debt management.
Exactly. That's what we're going for.
Amazing.
Looking forward to it.
Amazing. Right. You really don't want to miss out on the next one. It's really packed. I'm excited for what Edem is yet to share with us. Remember, build your foundation, believe in your potential, and become unstoppable. Thank you for joining us. And we've got a new phrase, which is B3Inspire, pay yourself first.